Broads Media.
Not a good weekend for the Fly guys. They just went through their worst loss of the season, having multiple two-goal leads and lost to the Ottawa frickin' Senators at home, especially after you played pretty well against Colorado the afternoon before. Unfortunate you didn't grab any points. Nathan MacKinnon is a damn superstar, and Carter Hart had some leaky oil. Okay, in that last goal wasn't particularly pretty either, so they didn't really get what they needed from the netminders in between the pipes on Saturday afternoon, but you'd think you'd have some sort of response to it, and it looked for quite some time they would, until they did it. Zamula's ripping two bingos in the first period on a hat trick watch. Zamula, Igor Zamula, on a first period hat trick watch. And you blew it. You blew it. Was the first goal a little awkward? Yeah, I'd say so. Did Ottawa have a case? Yeah, I'd say so. Regardless, sometimes you get the puck luck. Sometimes when you're a fantastic team, you take advantage of the weirdness, and the weirdness tends to follow you. Okay. But what the hell happened? I'm watching, what's his name? The dude from last year, Zach McEwen. Get the puck. Zamula at the top of the blue line. Dude is slow. Now, look, a lot of positivity lately on the Zamula front, and he's clearly doing a good job with that wrist shot and his patience and his ability to get shots through from the point. It has been something to note, and it's been bad as a whole in that position. So for him to step in there and be very serviceable, it's been beautiful. But, man, when he goes into a back check, or if he's got to go full speed, you see what everybody else has compared to him, because he's in quicksand trying to get back. Now, ultimately, you score 2 goals and make one hiccup mistake that leads to a goal. I'll take that payoff any day of the week. But I got to watch Zach McEwen score, really? Let's get to fighters. Let's speak about that for a second, because John Tortorella made a very interesting decision with his lineup. So, no Bobby Brink again when Zach McEwen, Owen Tippett, 2 totally different players. I'm sorry, Tipper. I'm sorry, Tip. By no means did I mean to embarrass you like that. I'm a fuck up. I'm a fuck up for ever thinking that was the same player. I apologize. But when Owen Tippett leaves the game Saturday afternoon and Sunday you think, okay, Bobby Brink can slide in there. Maybe he can give you some life. Maybe he can give you a jump offensively and help out the best he can, make up for missing one of your most electric pieces, one of your best snipers, one of your best let me find the twine guy you got, right? Like, all right, Bobby Brink. No, Delorier. And by the way, Delorier wasn't even playing towards the end. After about, the second period, third period, there wasn't much Delorier. And when you go 11 forward 7D, and then you strip Delorier from ice time, you have 10 forwards on a second half of a back-to-back. By the way, it's not easy to stay up on your toes and bring it for 60 minutes against Colorado, chasing guys like Nathan MacKinnon around the ice. I'm just saying, did you see what that man did? Holy shit, is he unbelievable. And now you're on the second half of a back-to-back, and I think you're limiting what your team could be on that day. To be fair, you're up 2-0 and you're up 3-1. How do you not close that game out against Ottawa? They were in position to win. Was the failure strictly because no Delorier and Bobby Brink? All right, my point is, and I don't know the answer to this. I'm just looking at the other side, and quite frankly, fatigue settles in when it's the later periods of a back-to-back. So, yeah, maybe you don't fail. Maybe you don't give up the 3-1 lead once you gain traction again and get that second 2-goal lead, right? So, if Bobby Brink replaced Delorier, does that third period change? I don't know. I don't know. I wish I saw, though, because what's the plan currently with Bobby Brink? Is it forget about him, just throw him upstairs in a suit and have him watch nonstop? Or at some point, do we try and build this kid? And this is the John Tortorella way. I understand. I've given that man a ton of credit because whenever he plays hardball, he seems to be getting the response. Whenever he plays Tommy Toughnuts, then the team seems to kind of pick it up. Cam Atkinson has been unreal since my man was watching from up top. All right, Travis Sanheim and everything he's been through, the dude's been a magician as a top pair defenseman. It would be nice if Bobby Brink can at least get some time, though, to lace them up to see if he's even going to reward us with a response. Enough's enough. I get it. He'll be in and out. I can't have him out. There's a difference between in and out and out. I don't know. They love Delorier. Is it because of a potential fight matchup? Did they view McEwen? Did they view... Brady Tkachuk is a pesty player. He's always going to constantly be up in your grill, not afraid to chuck him. So was there a protection? I don't know. You got to protect yourself against a bad Ottawa team. I guess they got nothing to lose, so it's easier to be willing to drop them. If you're Ottawa, I don't know. I just didn't like that. And I also didn't love Carter Hart. Now, I know we got the controversy going. Is it Ersson? Is it Carter Hart? Where do you feel on this? I've established this before, and I'll say it again. I love both. I think in today's era of 82 games, you need two fantastic goalies, and Carter Hart was not sharp over the weekend, but he's had a lot of tremendous games that I'm not now automatically going to forget because of some leaky stuff, and it does seem like it's a consistent problem that there's always a goal here and there that we need him to clean up. You're giving the other team one goal throughout the 60 minutes. Now, maybe you have the luck of Travis Konechny netting you two and also popping an assist. Maybe you get Joel Farabee on the board. By the way, speaking of assists, Zamula also walking the blue line and dragging everybody towards him, sucking them in, passing it over to Joel Farabee, who rips one. That's beautiful stuff, fellas. That is outstanding work. But if you give them one goal, the other team, and maybe you have the offensive power that night, you can get by it. But if it's a grind game, if it's you got to really battle and, you're in a thick one and the moments are getting big. There's 2 minutes to go in the third period. You're tied 2-2 with the team you should be dominating. It's not as if you're out shooting them significantly. How do you find a way to win that game? Well, one piss-poor goal that you should have stopped. Now, apparently that fifth goal that Carter Hart allowed with the shot from out far, apparently it hit off somebody, and I thought so when I saw the replay the original time that I know Carter Hart made reference to it during the post-game presser, and I haven't gone back to see it since, but I did think that initially. That was my gut reaction. Still, though, I need those. I'm not going to blame him for the first three. So if you remember, the first goal was the kick, and I thought it was obvious as hell, stuck his left foot out. It wasn't a redirect. You know how you're allowed the redirect now as long as it's not a kicking motion? That was a straight up, I'm sticking my leg out so the puck that's getting bounced around and deflected a few times can go off my boot. That's a kick. I don't know how we're not seeing that that's a kick. That is a damn kick. It's a kick. I can't believe you go to the replay booth. People in Toronto were staring at this on 7 different cameras, and that's the conclusion they came up with. How is that physically possible? How is that mentally possible? How do you lack brain cells and have that job? It's a fair question. Thank you very much. That's why I'm asking it. But anyway, so the first goal is not Carter Hart's fault. The second goal was right after a power play. So the power play just ticked off the board. It won't be registered as a power play goal, but they were still kind of set up with that pressure. And it was just a wicked pass through the seams. No sticks and lanes to deflect the puck out of play, or at least maybe for it to go to the corner. And then it's a foot race to see if you could get the puck out of the zone. Nothing. And it was a wicked one-timer, blistering shot. Not many goalies goalies are stopping that. The third goal is a Nathan McKinnon breakaway. Hey, not many goalies are saving that. Now, the fourth goal was a backdoor pass. I didn't like the defensive awareness on that one. It did break down into them having more numbers than you, and that is always a grade A scoring chance, especially with talented performers that are on the Colorado Avalanche. I'm just making sure you're aware that there's a lot of skill there. Okay, just making sure we understand that. He did go post to post, and I thought he could have gotten that one. Difficult save, but sometimes you got to ask someone like Carter Hart to make a timely, difficult save to keep your team invested and keep your team with some juice and maybe even change the momentum. That could be one that actually gives your team something. Let's say they're dead. Let's say they're tired. Where's the adrenaline rush? Can we just get an injection of a 5-minute spurt and see if we can maybe trickle one past the goal line? It could be a save on like a mini 2-on-1 with the backdoor pass. As you're hugging the post, you come up large. Like maybe that's it. You get a whistle. The boys come over, tap your pads. The fellas on the bed. Hey, go RG! Here we go, RG! That's all. And then the fifth goal, even though it may have got the flag, I still think he could have got something going there. That's just my 2 cents. So is Carter Hart atrocious and needs to go and we got to trade him and Ersson's our number one? No. That's silly to think Carter Hart all of a sudden, after having some pretty decent numbers, is just trash and this and that. I believe in Ersson more than Carter Hart right now. That's not to say it's because Carter Hart isn't good. It's actually just telling you where Ersson is. The guy's playing like a machine. Now, it's different in expectations. Carter Hart was labeled the savior, and I think that changes what the standard is for him. He's been a really strong goalie for you this season, and he's still fantastic. I just think Ersson's playing better currently and more consistent currently, and there's been all sorts of wonkiness, bad fish out in California, bad sushi, a little bit of this, a little bit of that here and there, sickness that he claimed, if I remember correctly, that he hasn't really dealt with anything like this before. Maybe I'm going a little aggressive. I don't know. I feel like there's something out there that said something similar to that. But regardless, is that playing a role? I have no idea. Is the pressure of knowing Ersson is playing phenomenal right beside him also giving him a little bit of a worry? I don't think so. He's been playing very good all year long. This was just a rougher afternoon that the numbers actually make it seem worse than it really was. I don't mind on a first half of a back-to-back, John Tortorella making the decision to go to Ersson for the third period. That's fine by me. Sometimes you don't want to leave your goalie out there to dry, and I don't think Tortorella looked at it that way at all with the Carter Hart thing. I think it was more just about, I'm trying to win this game, and if I'm looking for 2 points, there's one guy that I believe can do it right now over Hart, because that one just wasn't there for him, is Ersson. I don't think it's like hey, I don't want to embarrass the kid anymore. Hey, I don't want to put him in a spot where he's letting up a 7-burger. I don't think we were in that position. I think Torch was strictly just saying, well, what gives me the best chance right now? I'll think about the second half of a back-to-back after these final 20 minutes, but we're in a hockey game. And I'll give the Flyers a ton of credit. The fight back was real. I mean, they just kept going and cracking at it. That's why I was a little surprised how they let that thing slip against Ottawa. And this is their real deep test to this ugly level. This was the ugliest loss of the season. And by no means do I think that now everything I've been preaching over the last 2 weeks is to be forgotten, or we're not supposed to believe in what they can be anymore. There's a lot of good teams that go through bad regular season losses, and this was definitely one of them. I know that they got a lot of help after losing to Colorado, whether it's the Devils, the Rangers played the Kings, I believe. You just look at the standings and teams that you needed. The Capitals, there was some friendly stuff happening, and I know that means you didn't actually get to take advantage of that opportunity, but at least it didn't go the other direction where it got significantly worse. And I'm not sure exactly where the entire scoreboard fell yesterday around the league, and I'm not a day-by-day NHL guy in the middle of January. As we start getting closer to the spring, then yeah, no doubt about it, but I'm not there yet. So that's what I saw over this weekend. This was a bad, awful, terrible, disgusting weekend, and arguably the worst we've seen in a little bit of time. Even when they went on that stretch where they went on the road, and it's like, oh no, what are they doing? And let's look at this streak. It's going south. That wasn't as bad as the loss to Ottawa. You can't lose to Ottawa. You can't lose to Ottawa. If you would have snagged 2 of the 4 points over the weekend, lose to Colorado, beat Ottawa, well, then that's probably chalk, right? We probably would have labeled that chalk prior to seeing the results. When you have 2 2-goal leads, you can't squander an opportunity like that. It just can't happen. So how are they going to really bounce back from this as they play? Who do they play on Tuesday? The Tampa Bay Lightning. And I'm not sure if you're aware on that side of it, but they have some talented pieces too. What else has a bunch of talented pieces is HelloFresh. All right, there's nothing worse than when you get stuck into the dinner time recipe rut, and that's why HelloFresh saves your life. All right, my stepdad just got more HelloFresh today, and he's like, damn, dude, over 47 recipes to choose from. I mean, I could sit there all day and scroll at the beautiful options. I said, I know, I get that too. And I sometimes get yelled at from my wife. Yo, motherfucker, get upstairs. I said, I'm sorry. I'm looking at all the recipes that HelloFresh provides. HelloFresh does all the shopping and meal planning for you. Ingredients arrive right at your doorstep, pre-portioned and ready to cook, along with step-by-step recipe cards. How easy is that? We all know HelloFresh is so beautiful, but they are also less expensive than takeout. HelloFresh is 25% less expensive, so that means you get an easy home-cooked meal on the table and even more money back in your pocket. This is what you're going to do. You're going to go to HelloFresh.com/50broads and use code 50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. Make sure you click the link down below in the description. Okay, it did seem we got decent news from Owen Tippett. I think it was yesterday, there was a video or a picture of him skating around trying to see, I guess, how it would feel, and he obviously did not play on Sunday. But yeah, Owen Tippett was testing things out with the trainer, and at least he was attempting, right? Like if it was oh my God, you're absolutely toast and you're going to need significant, insane amount of time off, and we know that we're getting the first diagnosis and it doesn't sound great, would he be lacing them up and going out to just try and move on the ice? That doesn't mean that he'll be back as soon as Tuesday. He'll be back as soon as this upcoming week. I have no idea what the timetable is, and I just think you escaped something that could have been way worse, and I know it sucks. It does suck. Owen Tippett has been such a monster for you, and he's been a joy. I heard Al Morganti say this on one of the intermissions, and I guess I didn't really realize it until he said it out loud. And when Owen Tippett has the puck and he's flying from his defensive zone through the neutral zone, you could feel a rise from the fans. And I'm sure people even sitting on their couch at home, when Owen Tippett's coming down the half wall, ready to go around a defenseman entering the offensive zone, you think something amazing is about to happen. You think something special has potential. Same with Travis Konechny, right? But it's not as if you'd feel that when every single guy comes down the wall. You might know that someone has offensive ability, but that's different than highlight reel SportsCenter #1 top 10 plays, and he was doing that multiple nights in a row. Now, he's not Ovechkin. He's not Crosby. That's the type of every single night, every single second, every single possession. It's a little bit different, all right? I don't want to put him on that level of pedestal, but I'm just saying, Owen Tippett, I never thought that he'd ever get to the point where maybe once or twice a season I can see that, let alone in back-to-back games. So he's playing at an all-time high, and this team is going to hit adversity right now, and now a player is going to hit adversity right now. And if Owen Tippett is going to blossom into something really phenomenal, well, you have to know how to go through this, because unfortunately, in a very competitive, high-intense game, you're going to take shots, you're going to take hits, you're going to get injured. Can you battle through the injury? Are you constantly beat up, or do you know how to work through it the best you can? I know it's a different sport, but guys like Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson, they're not 100% by week 14, but they have just been doing it for so long, they know how to maneuver through it. Is there something for Owen Tippett to be like, okay, I was playing at an all-time high, I was being elite, I was scoring at will, I'm now going through this. How do I, one, get my body in the right position, make sure I'm doing everything right off the ice, and taking the proper whatever. They get all hooked up these days, and they're doing all sorts of rehab nonstop and all that stuff. Like, are you doing what you need to prepare your body to do it? And then also the mental approach of when you do get back on the ice, you play your game again. Speaking of intensity, though, Rasmus Ristolainen, I think, lost 6 body parts. Dude, that's a big guy. That is a huge body and a lot of weight to throw around. And my man got bodied. Oh, man. I just didn't expect that to happen. I didn't see it coming. Wow. I've been on that side of things before. I think I threw one hit like that in my life that I could remember. That hit. Look, I know I was a stay-at-home defenseman, but I was no Scott Stevens. I was Justin Braun. So sue me. I wasn't throwing mean open body hits. But it was when I was playing for Team Comcast. We were in Michigan. I believe it was either the Cleveland Barons we were playing. I don't think it was Bell Tire. No, it wasn't Beltire. Dylan Larkin played for that team with Sonny Milano, and they were like 32-0. And I'll never forget it. They lost to the Oakland Grizzlies, who were 0-32. And we were like, what were they shit-faced? Were they absolutely boozing? That was U16 year. I never forget that, though. But anyway, no one cares about Dylan Larkin at 15 years old losing to a team that had 0 wins. Okay, yeah, let me knock my headphones off. This is the problem with standing. Very active with the hands. I'm always constantly moving. So I knock it out of the hole once in a while. You don't want to knock it out of the hole. Things don't go as well when you knock it out of the hole. All right, hold on. This is a mess. This is just a mess. Okay. Let's take some calls. Let's go to Sean.
Well, cancel that Stanley Cup celebration parade we all were thinking about.
No.
And, of course, wouldn't you know it would be Claude Giroux that gets the game winner.
Gross.
Unbelievable, but just a bad loss for the Flyers. I mean, the defenseman handled the puck like a hand grenade all day. I mean, Zach McEwen, of all people, scores on a breakaway moments after you take a 2-0 lead. And what Nick Seeler is doing on the clincher, I don't know. Going cross ice with traffic, not a good move.
No.
They let Ersson hang out to dry. He kept him in it as long as he could, but he couldn't stop everything. Big game Tuesday, not liking our odds against Tampa, who seem to kick our ass every time they play us, especially in Philadelphia. But, Tortorella's going to be slamming some shit against the walls after this game because this was truly one that the Flyers let slip away.
See, I don't know exactly the best way to handle this if I'm the coach. You know what? Torts is an interesting guy, and everything is so calculated. And I did see some of his press conference stuff. He said he never felt comfortable in this one. And, yeah, I think that's a fair general vibe, right? A general consensus is even when they did have a multi-goal lead and when they did grab it again, I wasn't convinced, right? I don't think that they were playing with conviction and automatic, hey, we're going to wrap this thing up. There's times where you could tell, hey, they're playing a certain way. They're hitting the red line. They're getting it deep. They're getting fresh change. No one's staying out there for a minute and a half. It's constant 45 seconds on and off. You're just getting a good rhythm going. The other team's not getting any sort of real high-scoring chances. You're playing sound defensively. It just never really had that level of impact from the eye test. And, but, with Torts, I think this is more of a, hey, I believe in them. I don't think this is a kick the trash can. What the fuck are you doing? Throwing the whiteboard, and then the next day you're at practice. You see the entire board, the ice board that you draw the plays on the mark. This is how we're doing practice today. Hey, starting these 4 dots, blah, 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 blah. that's got a huge crack through the middle because he was bending it off his knee. Now, I'm sure in the NHL, if that does happen, there's something called, here's another one. When you're 13 years old and your coach works 9 to 5 and he has to buy formula and diapers, so then maybe he has a hard time going to Dick's for $20 to go get himself a new whiteboard, a different story. Torch should go. I'm sorry. Torch should go with this message. We'll be all right. I believe in this group. I trust this group. And I like that. That's how he should go, and that's what he sort of went with. That was the overall vibe. I like that one. I don't think this is a screw you, yo, jerk-offs, unacceptable, pathetic, even though it is, right? Even though it is, there's something to the way that I mentioned he should go about it and the way that he seems to be going about it. 2 thumbs up. It's sharp. All right? Trust me. I know how to coach in the NHL. So how I'm feeling should get 2 thumbs up. What's next?
No way you trade Walker or Sealer for a second-round draft pick. Second-round draft picks get about less than a 25% chance of a player ever making it to the NHL. Not worth it. Not worth it to take these guys off the lineup, out of the lineup the way they're playing. No way. It's not fair to the other players. If they could get a first round for them, okay. But anything less, no chance.
I tend to agree. If you can land a first-round draft pick, I know it would suck in the short term, but in the long term, another first-round draft pick for a Sean Walker, and think about the trade to even acquire him. Get a first-rounder, and what if that player is something that's here for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years? I'm not saying, what if that person becomes the next dude, but what if that guy becomes something that is playing in your top 6 and is a solid option for you? You get that for Sean Walker. You make an interesting point, though, about the guys that will be here for a while and there's 1-year contracts, but you're still making a push. And you're basically saying, yeah, that's great, but we don't care and we have to look at the long run. I'm sorry. Now, part of your job is to have those uncomfortable conversations. And part of your job, if you're Danny Briere and Keith Jones, is to send the proper message. And even through these difficult decisions that you're making, you got to keep everyone rolling. So if you do feel that way, and it does seem like they do, then you got to have a talk with the Couturiers, the Konechnys, the Farabees, the guys that have been here for a while, and kind of sell them your vision and sell them why. You're right. From the surface level, I'd be so pissed. I'd be so disappointed because guess what? I'm tied up here. Not everybody I mentioned is tied up here for the entire long term. We know about Cootsy's contract, but I'm saying, here's your entire team, and they're going to war, and you just strip them from that. Yeah, it sucks, but if you sell them what it's about, that's part of your job from a leadership standpoint. So as I almost knock my headphones out again, I gotta do better in everything I do in life. Here's a text from Sam. I said in my previous message that Igor is looking good. Now he gets in the spotlight. The kid is really good. Farabee and Zamula have really been awesome surprises. This was a shitty back-to-back, and that hurts. They are going to have to fix themselves quickly or they can slide in the standings. So, Sam, I guess the Farabee thing, I want to hit on that, right? Because you say Farabee has been an awesome surprise. I don't know. Is this surprising to see Joel Farabee do this? I thought Joel Farabee was special. I thought Joel Farabee was tremendous. He was just dealing with a real physical problem. And I think that we were just hoping that he'd come back and just be automatic again, not realizing there's times your body has to adjust. And he went through something pretty severe that he needed more time to get a feel on how this is going to go. Not everyone is as insane as Sean Couturier because, yeah, I think what he went through would give him a longer leash of he's got to work himself back. Now, that guy doesn't make much sense. That guy might not be a human, but that's not the norm either. So, and Joel Farabee's not in the same spot in his NHL career as Sean Couturier was. And I mean, they're 2 totally different players, but I'm not shocked by this. I'm not shocked by this. And here's Joe from Bucks County. Hurts is looking rusty. And another point, when Hart goes out to play the puck, I close my eyes. Yeah, I don't like when he has the puck on his stick. Urson, that is all. So that's from Joe. I figured we'd get some Carter Hart slander at some rate. So, all right, worst loss of the year, worst weekend of the year. How do they look on Tuesday? It'll tell us something. It sure will. All right, everybody. I love you guys to death. We'll be talking soon, and I'll see you all on the next one.